able to sit quietly for long periods of time. I like to think of it as my superpower because it has saved my fanny many times over. Growing up Catholic, I attended church every Sunday, holy days of obligation, and every Friday during the 6 weeks of Lent. In case you're unfamiliar, holy days of obligation, all Catholic schools are closed, so the students attend Mass. These were a way to honor a person or event from the Bible. Things such as the Feast of the Assumption, the Stations of the Cross, All Saints' Day, and the Epiphany, to name a few. Our entire school had to attend Mass that day. Do you see the obligation part? We were to dress in our uniforms and show up for the 9 a.m. service, which lasted almost 2 hours. Let me just say this: as a kid, having to go to Mass on a holiday ruined a perfectly good day. I mean, what was the point of that day off? Am I right? Well, for those of you unfamiliar with the distinctions of Catholic Mass, there were two types: the normal hour-long services and the 2-hour marathons called High Mass. The priest could spring a High Mass anytime he wanted to or felt like it. And usually he liked to surprise the congregation unexpectedly with High Mass at the 11:30 a.m. services. See, the 11:30 was the last service of the week, and people who perhaps celebrated a little too much the night before tried to slip in for a quick, dutiful attendance, only to be thrown a curveball and get stuck until almost 2 p.m. My mother got us trapped by that once. She never took us to late Mass again. So when I was caught shoplifting and placed in a small cell-like room, I sat on the bench, folded my hands in my lap, and prayed. I was in that room for over an hour waiting for my mother to show up and take me home. And I didn't wail or act out as my friend Kathy did. I mean, in the whole, as my friend Kathy did in the enclosed room next to me, she was quite disruptive. The whole station heard her. When I was finally brought in to sit with my mother and the lady detective for my interview, again, I didn't cry, but I sang like a canary and threw Tina under the bus so far she could have changed the oil. Oh, I think I may have skipped a step. Let me back up. It was the Saturday after Halloween, and the stores at Del Amo Shopping Center were hosting a fall sale. The papers were full of advertisements announcing major price reductions. Every afternoon after school that week, we camped in Kathy's bedroom. Cindy, Tina, and I examined the advertisements and drooled over what we wanted. Tina had inspected pictures of jackets on sale at Lerner's department store and circled her favorites. She and Cindy lounged on the floor giggling about the dresses. The harvest dance was coming up in 2 weeks, and Cindy needed a new dress. I asked Tina to see the paper because I wanted to look at the shoe sale, but Tina and Cindy paid no attention to me. Embarrassed that I was ignored, I got a little miffed, and Kathy rescued me and talked with me about shoes. But I felt left out in my friendship with Tina. It was decided we'd go to Del Amo Shopping Center on Saturday. That morning, we piled into the station wagon, Kathy, Cindy, Tina, Kathy's brother and his friend, and myself. Kathy's brother drove us as he had gotten his driver's license that August. We arrived at the shopping center and it was busy. We agreed to meet Kathy's brother at Woolworth's counter for lunch at 12:30, and the 4 of us girls set out to Lerner's. Cindy and Tina were inseparable that morning and skipped over to the dress section. And Kathy grabbed my arm and we went to look at shoes. And I bought a pair of two-toned slip-on flats for $3.75. And Kathy purchased a blue and white shirt for $2.35. And that matched the skirt she was sewing in home economics. Pleased with our purchases, we strolled over to the jacket and handbag section where Tina and Cindy were standing. Tina had tried on an amber-colored wool coat with double-breasted brass buttons, but Cindy said she should get the dark blue one with black buttons because it looked better on her. The amber one cost more than $4 more than the blue one, and Tina couldn't make up her mind. She set both jackets aside and moved over to the belts and wallets. Cindy pulled Kathy aside and whispered something. Kathy's eyes widened, and I walked over to Tina and asked her to see my new shoes. I felt a little excluded at this moment and wanted to reclaim my friendship with Tina. I opened the bag I was carrying, took the shoes out of the box, and held them out like Vanna White. Tina agreed they were cool. My chest filled with pride. And Cindy waved Tina over to where she and Kathy were examining belts. And left alone, I rewrapped the shoes in the tissue paper, placed them back in the box, and slipped the box into its bag. And the bag had little handles so I could carry it easily. It took me a few moments to locate my friends, and I suspected by her secretive behavior that Tina had been shoplifting. As I said in an earlier post, she usually took little things every time we went to a store, a chapstick or candy bar. This time I thought maybe she and Cindy had done it together, and now it looked like Kathy was part of it too. I wasn't. They walked over to me, and I was standing near the wallets, leather key cases, and purses. Cindy and Kathy chatted about dresses and how much they cost, and Tina came over to me and held up a wallet with a wicked look in her eye. And I knew what Tina wanted me to do. I thought, if I put this in my bag, I could be more important, dangerous, exciting. Tina and I spoke no words. I took the wallet and slipped it inside my shoe bag. "Come on, let's go," said Tina, and I followed. All of us left the store. "Stop right there, young ladies," a strong female voice shouted out to us.